Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with another edition of this week's vlog. It's been a week. It still is a week. We're still rocking and rolling. As telling by the picture, you would think it would be January and it'd be snow on the ground. Actually, no, this was from the last full moon, or maybe even the current full moon. But it is so warm outside today. It is 64 outside this afternoon in southwestern Pennsylvania, IA. It's a beautiful Friday afternoon, and a wonderful Friday afternoon it is. For me anyway. It's actually pretty astonishing that it is 4:31 in the afternoon and I am recording this video for the week. Normally I don't do that till after 6:30, but today we are here, and that's kind of why I want to come into the talk today, this week, about, I had a winter epiphany, you would say, or it could be a winter epiphany, it could be an overall epiphany, but it could be the epiphany of the past 5 years and understanding the necessity of my medication. If you've been following me for the past 3 years that I've been doing this, we're on episode 280 today. But in many of those episodes, I've been up and down and all over the place because, number one, I have bipolar disorder. Number two, I've just not been well, I had not been taking my meds for a very long time at different intervals. And I shared with that last year when I had my manic episode back in August. 29th was when I had my manic episode. So it's been about 5 months, and I know I need my medication. I always knew I needed two out of, I know I needed all but one. And then I had been struggling with one pretty much for the last 5 months, for the last 3 to 5 months off and on. And finally, last Thursday, it hit. It decided that it just hit, in like the necessity of medication, and that all medications matter, and especially a medication that um, is intended to help bipolar and or just any kind of autism symptom. Now, when we talk about medication and autism, it's not to cure it, it's not to make me something I'm not. It's to help me be able to navigate the world that is not made for me. So when I say that, I had spent probably the last few years believing that I was experiencing autistic burnout. And yes, there were situations that were challenging for me. There was no doubt that they were. However, I was experiencing autistic burnout, and what I believed was autistic burnout, but was not by definition autistic burnout, because I was not caring for my other conditions. And as a result, things were not always pleasant. And I think anybody who knew me through last summer was pretty well aware of how I was feeling, and that I was not myself, and that now finally, 5 months later, and understanding that all medicines taken as prescribed are required and necessary in life, I finally have a grasp of what that is. It was like an epiphany. And how do I come to that epiphany? Well, I was on one of those sprees again last week, and probably day two, and I could really tell. Like, sometimes I couldn't tell, or sometimes I autistically masked so well that I just didn't pay attention to it. And then it hit, and I realized that when things were not the way they were supposed to be, I kind of could tell that I needed to get this under control. And so I went back into my regimen, and thankfully we had a snowstorm last weekend, which brought on its own set of circumstances and leads us into this week. But I got a snow day Friday, so I was able to recuperate and get back into my regimen over the course of 4 to 5 days. And so it's been 8 days today. And even though it's 8 days, and there's just part of me that wishes and hopes that it just keeps the pattern going. And that understanding that medication is an important factor in my life, whether someone else believes it or not, and whether or not you do or you don't like the side effects of it. It's the fact that the medicine helps. And if you're not willing to at least address the issues that the side effects bring forth, like weight gain or appetite, then you have no other problem. Then you need to work on it if you can. And as I may have said, I don't know if you follow me on Facebook or if you follow me on Instagram, but I said about, having to go get labs done the other week. And I learned that, the level's not where it needs to be, but the doctor was happy with it. And that, of course, the other issue was the LDL, the good cholesterol, and that needed to be improved through exercise and walking and doing what I like to do. Now, granted, the last week of Pennsylvania, and weather was not cooperative to that effect. We've had every kind of weather, including a full moon last night. As you can see, this picture was taken from a full moon, and it was we have those once a month on average, and we know that if we in the autism community often know how much it messes us up, and it can, and it can mess many people up. But the best thing is I can do is manage my way through it, grasp it and understand it, and try to get a sense of where I need to be. Now, so, through all that, through all the week and all of that, I've gotten back into rhythm of where I need to be. So that is a good thing in a way, but it also allowed me to see that it's a place that I don't ever want to go. It's having, I think seeing it too and hearing it, not only from me, but from social media too. I don't know how I ended up on that side of the world. I don't care how I ended up, but I ended up in some reels and some posts where people explain what a manic episode is, or what people do in being autistic and not having the care that they need, not allowing themselves. And there's a sense of being yourself, and there's a sense of not being yourself. And I think I had to understand what, in a sense, is what can be what I need to do. And what I need to do is do what I've always done before 5 years ago. And even when been battling these battles over and over and over again, I have continued to not do what was needed. And if anything that has taught me that, beside the social media, beside the experience, the recent experiences, but also looking back at what the past experiences were when I knowingly did not take my medicine, and what did that provide? What was that situation like? What was that challenge like? what was, what was that like? And what did I experience? And to be honest, if you know that I'm recording a video on a Friday, like I do every Friday, and it's still daylight out, and it's January, and it's definitely something to be said because if you know me, I'm always if it's like this time of year, it's 90% of the time I've been doing my recording in the dark. So something I'm feeling better, obviously. And I need to keep seeing that, keep positive about it. Um, as you may or may not remember, in the past 2 months, I've been keeping a journal of sleep and medicine, particularly the one medicine and particularly the sleeping. And it has decreased because I'm moving about. And that in turn is because I'm not believing because I'm not believing because I know I'm not experiencing autistic burnout. I'm not on the autistic burnout train because have, I am in a neuro affirming workplace. I am in a neuro affirming day service, and I manage my autism as best as I can, even with medication. And even though some may not believe that medication is helpful, there are medications to help assist in that. And 22 years ago, 22 or 23, or maybe even 25, I had gotten on a cocktail from medications. I was put in a residential treatment facility for 9 months for my own safety and my family's safety to get me and to help me understand, to help me get the right cocktail that worked well for me and got me into what worked for me. And back in 2001, it worked. And from 2001 to 2018, I would say that it pretty much um, worked and pretty much was a uh, very a pillar of my life. And until I moved out on my own, and I had missed one dose, and I got into that mania, and that upset, and the behaviors began, and they downed, and in 2020 they died, 2019 through 2019, into 2020 they skyrocketed to really bad episodes, and then it did in 2023. So I'm hoping that we start 2024 in a much better pattern with the controlling and being able to not be in those manic episodes anymore, and realizing that medicine is an everyday thing. No matter what I'm doing, no matter where I'm going or who I'm talking to, medicine is important in my life. Um, it's not, not everybody believes in it, but for me, it is a necessity. And I think for me that I had to take a long road to understand and accept that medicine is important in my life, regardless of what others may believe or what I may think may or may not help me or may not cause the side effects. Medicine is first place in my life, and that caring for myself by helping me sleep and stay asleep is another pivotal part in making sure that happens. So, I think that is just one way of saying that I need to close the door on the past. We need to learn from our experiences and remember that, it didn't, that even though, thank goodness, and I do think there are many people watching over me, many angels or whatever, not in a bad way, but like just people, just guardian people, just looking out for me, that I didn't have issues, and that I got back on track, and I'm proud to be here and proud of all my accomplishments. But I never like to toot my own horn, but I think you have to think of those accomplishments. And there's people that look up to you and say, well, if he can do it, that must mean something, because people look to me and say, wow, he can do it. And not realize, it does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of courage. So all those things matter, and they do. So, I think that's a good closing point, is just keep on the momentum going this weekend and keep going and going and going with what I need to do. So understanding that, also that I do not have autistic burnout, even though for the longest time I believed I did. But now I realize, by caring for myself, I'm caring for my autism, and I'm caring for my other conditions in best the ways that I can. So with that being said, I think I'm going to jump off here. I think that's a good stopping point for today. But I want to thank you for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Pinterest. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. I'm on the web at websites dustinsdynastyusa.com. And if you visit there, you can sign up for my email list to be on my weekly e-blast. And I'm on Linktree. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. Again, I want to thank you for listening. Be sure to have a good weekend, everyone. I'm hoping to. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves and be kind to each other and yourself too. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.